How Illidan was beaten in 2 hours in Classic TBC. Alright guys, here we go.
Classic Burning Crusade has been running now for over 8 months.
No.
And yesterday night, probably one of the most famous raids in the history of World of Warcraft has been released one more time. Black Temple, of course.
What the fuck? So let me get this straight. You've got a full tier 5 warrior, and he's wearing those boots. Those boots are a green item. That is a fucking green item. Why the fuck would a warrior in tier 5 be going into Black Temple with a green pair of boots? Who made this? This is outrageous.
Temple, of course. Along with that, also released Mount Hyjal, on the other end of the spectrum, regarded as one of the worst raids in WoW. And without much surprise, both those raids were cleared very shortly after they got released. Just over 2 hours from their launch, actually. To achieve that, players had to...
Look at that raid comp, man. Look at that DPS. Mages and Warlocks. Guys, it's time to re-roll. I actually, to be honest, I really like playing Warrior in TBC. I like playing Warrior in TBC more than I liked playing Warrior in Vanilla WoW.
Resort to some insane tactics to not only clear those raids in as little time as possible, but also to compete with each other for which guild will claim Classic TBC's Tier 6 World First.
Okay,
so today we're gonna see exactly how players in 2022 managed to...
To be honest with you, I love watching speedruns of like TBC and Classic WoW. I'm not really much of a raider, but I love, like, I probably watched 30 BWL speedruns during Classic WoW of different guilds. I probably watched 20 AQ40 speedruns. And I've watched a ton of Nax speedruns too. Same, they're hype as fuck. Yeah, I think it's so interesting, the kind of stuff that people do and the tricks that people do, and like the escalation of it. It's really, really cool because like it's not just one person doing it. It's like a whole group of people collectively. It's so fucking badass, man.
Clear Black Temple in just over 2 hours, when originally in 2007 it took players over 20 days to do so. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, one thing worth noting is that Burning Crusade's Tier 6 raid tier, that being Black Temple and Mount Hyjal, is very particular. Nowadays in modern World of Warcraft, and even throughout Classic, we only ever get one raid per patch. In TBC, it's quite different. Each patch introduced 2 or even 3 raids. So that raises the question.
Bro, y'all remember back in Cataclysm whenever they released 3 raids whenever the game came out, bro? Like, people were like, 3 raids, I'm just gonna quit the game. Fuck this, I can't do this. Is too much. It's too much. Why are we watching with subtitles? Good question. I don't know why.
How do you determine who gets world first? The consensus seems to be if you manage to clear both raids in their entirety first, you got world first tier 6.
That's the smartest way to do it.
Which guild managed to do that? That credit goes to the guild Progress on Firemaw EU, who managed to deal the final blow to both Archimonde and Illidan in 2 hours and 4 minutes. A bit of history about Progress. This guild has actually been...
Progress? Like, I think Progress is definitely a, and this is Tetsu, by the way. I know you guys can't see him. There he is. I'm pretty sure we either watched him live or we watched him right after it happened, whenever they got Tier 4. The Progress made a name for themselves in Classic WoW. Like, they were always a big guild. I think they were even big in private servers, too. But they really made a big name for themselves right here, because this was where they actually took the mantle of the best guild away from Apes at the time. Because I think that they didn't... I think Apes won AQ40, I don't remember. But like Nax was like the big thing. That's like the Olympics. And Progress beat Apes in Nax 40. It was a big fucking deal. And Apes did great. I mean, yeah, Apes did great. Apes only got MC. I thought Apes got... I'm pretty sure that Apes got BWL, or like, if I remember right, they got really bad RNG with like Nefarian. He like flew down and then he reset or something like that. It was something really stupid. But either way, what I'm saying is that Progress is pretty much it's like a one-horse race right now. I'm not seeing a lot of other guilds competing with Progress. There's Onslaught, might still be around, maybe a few other ones, but Progress right now is, in my opinion, far and away the best one.
Achieving world first since Classic. All the way from Blackwing Lair up until now, Progress grabbed every world first in Classic WoW and Classic TBC.
Wow,
but every
I
time
didn't realize
they barely achieved that. Sometimes down to seconds. And
Holy
that's the
shit.
nature of the world first race in Classic. So for tier 6, it is worth
I didn't
noting
realize that they had been
some
winning for that
guilds
long.
did
I thought
decide
Apes
to
had won
only
more.
kill the first boss of Hyjal, which is the only boss you need to kill to be able to zone into Black Temple. Then cleared Black Temple directly from there. But even though Progress decided to do it the more legit but longer way by clearing both raids to their entirety, they were only beaten by the guild Turbulence, who managed to kill Illidan just 1 minute before Progress, even though they decided to go directly to Black Temple after only doing the first boss of Hyjal.
That's
this goes
the
to
thing.
show how dominant
and that's
Progress
what I'm saying.
really is.
It is like Progress, like this guild is like way fucking above the other guilds. It just is. Like they take it way more fucking seriously. It's kind of like how it's hard to really say. It's like imagine if Echo never formed in retail WoW and it was only Limit or Liquid now. It's basically the same thing, it feels. Yeah, they are way more serious.
Though they did both raids in their entirety, they were only beaten by one guild who decided to go to Illidan directly, and only by 1 minute. And this goes to show how exciting the Race to World First is in Classic. It's very different from Retail's Race to World First in the sense that it generally only gets cleared in a couple hours. But those couple hours are filled with excitement. Because you know, whoever wipes at any point, it's over for them. So it's a question of who goes the fastest while staying as safe as possible. And
well, it's also like a lot of these guilds do practice runs in either a PTR. This is what a lot of guilds used to do back in Classic WoW, is they would actually run their own PTR of BWL, AQ, or Nax and run it over and over and over so they can practice the speed run for whenever it comes out. And this also made it it was a private server, right? It was a private Classic server that was made just to run BWL or whatever. Is that allowed? Not really. And so anyway, Blizzard doesn't really give a fuck though. Like, who cares? And anyway, what I'm saying here is that they did this, and also they did it on PTR now because the raids were up on PTR, and it makes it easier to do. So I think that one thing that's really interesting to watch is to see the strategies that they use. Like, for example, like using flasks of petrification in Nax and just like different crazy shit like that. I think it's so cool. Most people use official Classic PTR to practice. Yeah, I was just comparing it to vanilla and how it's evolved because, yeah, we had PTR now.
Progress did some insane things to achieve that we're gonna talk about now. So, first off, Mount Hyjal. Progress, just like many other guilds, basically used all the tricks in the books to make the raid go as fast as it possibly can go. The thing with Hyjal is that there's no way to really speedrun it. You kill a wave of
yes, I'm aware of that.
Trash, then the next wave spawns, then the next one, etc. until you clear all the raid. So basically, if you want to go as fast as possible, you have to camp the spawn point of the trash, and that's very dangerous on it.
Yeah, of course, right? Because you can accidentally aggro the A-bombs, and then there's also the whole undead village in there as well. But yeah, obviously, if you're pulling them here, you have that they take the travel time, they spawn right there in front of the gates, and they run all the way over. So all of this time where they run all the way over, that's like 20 seconds that you're missing every single wave. So add that up, and you're missing minutes of time here.
Zone. This means no mana or health regen allowed between the pulls.
See how
if
they're
people
up in the front
die,
here.
they can only get combat rest. And if you wipe at any point, it's pretty much over. Progress did a perfect Hyjal run from start to finish. In fact,
and I can almost bet that's why they have so many warlocks, because Seed of Corruption, a lot of people don't realize this, but Seed of Corruption was so disgustingly fucking overpowered in Burning Crusade that they barely even increased its damage and wrath, and warlocks were still topping the meters. It was fucking ridiculous.
In fact, many guilds in the world did the same. So now it was a question of who manages to clear Black Temple as fast as possible.
Right.
And Black Temple was pure insanity. Pulling entire packs of mobs away and running through them, ignoring them, invisibility skips, rocket boots, pulling bosses and trash together. Progress's Black Temple run was flawless. The only hiccup they had is at some point they attempted to do what's called a raid reset, where you have everyone disconnect and someone outside the raid resets it, and that's
so
supposed to teleport everyone to the entrance of the...
See, yeah, they're trying to spawn at the beginning so they can go up and talk to the NPC. So this is what it is. So they pass lead to this guy here, Jim, and then he resets the instance. Everybody gets their character put back at the beginning of the instance, and there's the Draenei guy right there at the front left that you can talk to that will teleport you directly to the middle area, and that's the guy that sells a lot of the shadow protection armor patterns and also the swift steel armor patterns as well. And like right there, you go immediately to Mother Shiraz, and you're saving really about 2 minutes by doing that.
Right. This didn't work for them, and their theory on why this didn't work is that they probably had a GM in the raid watching them. So their raid reset didn't work because the GM was still inside the instance. Other than that, their run was perfect, and that's how they managed to clear both Hyjal and Black Temple in 2 hours and 4 minutes. So that's what happened yesterday, but let's go back in time.
And also, if I might be wrong about this, but isn't resetting the instance after Charon Gorefiend, won't that clear more trash mobs? Because certain groups of the Dreadlords will not respawn? I don't know. Like, yes, I think you can do that.
15 years in the past, actually. In June 2007, 6 months after Burning Crusade had released, and 22 days after the release of Black Temple. Why did it take Neilum, the original World First Guild, 22 days to defeat Illidan? Just like with many things in Classic, it comes down to 15 years of experience with the game. In January 2007...
Well, they had to figure out how to do the fight. Like, that's the big reason. So, like, if you had people go and do the Castle Nathria race to World First again, Denathrius would die faster than he did the first time. It wouldn't be as big of a difference as we're seeing now, but it would be a big difference. Because they already have the strat for something like Sludgefist. They already have the strat for Stone Legion Generals. They know what to do. So all they need to do is basically look at the strat, fit their players into the strat, and that's it.
When Burning Crusade released, players were still playing on CRT monitors and using dial-up internet connections to play the game. Gaming was still in its infancy, and no one really had access to in-depth guides on Wowhead and YouTube to teach them how to play the game. This could be a reason on its own, but there's more to it than that. Nowadays, before any patch gets released, players across the world test all of its content intensively on the public test realms. Realms made by Blizzard so that the patches release smoothly and bug-free. Obviously, every top guild in the world created tens of characters on the PTR servers and ran Black Temple and Hyjal every day the PTR was up. When Burning Crusade released originally in 2007, it did so in a less than optimal state, to say the least. Pretty much every raid had some kind of bug. Mechtheridon saw many fixes and nerfs. Vash too, Kael'thas as well, and that's just to mention those. And the thing is, Burning Crusade basically requires you to clear every previous raid to access the higher tier raids.
I always thought that was better.
Thanks to attunements. Attunements are still present now in Classic TBC, but because Blizzard decided to stagger raid releases, players had more than enough time to get attuned to SSC and Tempest Keep. Then,
yeah, that's actually another really good point, is that players were able to immediately they were able to immediately zone into the instance because you could do attunements ahead of time.
And when those were released, we had more than enough time to get attuned to Black Temple and Mount Hyjal. Not to mention the content not being bugged anymore. And Blizzard removing attunement requirements in the middle of patches, just like they will do for Black Temple very soon probably. So yeah, with all those things taken into consideration, plus many other small factors, like the fact that there was way less competition back in the day, it's easy to see why it took Neilum 22 days to kill Illidan. But
well, the people that are playing, like these people, look at their damage. Like, that's all you have to do, is you just look at what their DPS is. This guy's doing 400 DPS. And I think actually with 12,000 health, he might actually just be tanking the Demon Within phase. And if that's the case, his damage doesn't really matter. But like in general, like they're doing like fucking double the damage that people used to back then.
Only took Progress 2 hours to do so. Here's one interesting fact. Neilum only killed Archimonde 4 days after that, on June 9th. So actually, Tier 6 was only cleared 26 days after its release originally.
That's crazy.
So yeah, now what's there left to do in Classic Burning Crusade exactly? Well, the game still has 2 more raids left to release. Well, more like 1.5 raids actually. Zulaman, which is a 10-man catch-up raid, probably will not have any competition competition or race to world first.
No.
But who knows, maybe. And of course, Sunwell, which is personally...
The truth is, like, with Black Temple gear, let me tell you, people are going to complete ZA bear runs on day 1 with relative ease. It's just going to be like getting the ZA bear is going to be like getting ahead of the curve on like Sylvanas right now. It's not going to be hard at all. It's actually going to be easier than that. It will be easier to get ahead of, to get a bear mount in Burning Crusade than kill Sylvanas on Heroic, because with Sylvanas on Heroic you run the risk of dying of old age during the fight.
My favorite raid of all times. Sunwell was extremely challenging back in the day. Many guilds till this day regard Muru and Kil'jaeden as 2 of the hardest bosses to ever be added in WoW.
But
will it be hard 15 years later? Not a single chance. But I think Sunwell will still offer quite a challenge even for modern players. And
oh yeah, Sunwell I think will be challenging because they've already decided to selectively not nerf certain mechanics that Muru has in order to make it harder. They used it as an example. Now, obviously, is it going to be hard like a current level mythic boss? No. Is it going to be something that progress in these guilds will wipe on? No. Is it going to be something that casual Andy, dad, classic WoW raiders who remember how good it used to be will wipe on? Yes, it absolutely will be. I mean, people are wiping, like, there are a lot of guilds in Burning Crusade that couldn't kill Vashj. They couldn't kill Kael'thas.
Unlike the previous tiers, tier 6.5, the Sunwell tier, only has this raid and this raid only in it.
Yeah.
Unlike all the previous tiers we had up until now in Classic TBC. So that should account for a very interesting race. So, if you're watching this and you've been wondering since the start whether you should give Classic TBC a shot, or maybe even get back into it, the answer is definitely yes. It still has a lot in store for us. And this is still Classic, so any previous content is still relevant. People are running Karazhan and Gruul even nowadays, because there's still good loot to get from those previous raids. And we actually made a video on whether it's too late to start the game, which you should definitely check out. As for me, I'm yet...
Yeah, I don't think it's too late to start at all. It will take maybe a little bit of time to get the attunements and everything like that, but I wouldn't look at that as a barrier to the content. I would look at that as the content. That's part of the game. Like, the content of the game does not begin at Black Temple. It's way too late. It's not really, because Sunwell, like, BT is going to be out for 3 more months. Sunwell is probably going to be out for 6. Probably like maybe even 8 months. Sunwell is going to be out for a long time, man, because they're going to have to release Wrath. Like, that's obviously what's going to happen, right? Is they're going to release Wrath. And no T5 attunements anymore. I meant T6 attunements. But yeah.
To set foot in Black Temple. I'm what you call a filthy casual in this game, but I will definitely give it a shot very soon with my guild, and I'm super excited about that. Illidan is among my all-time favorite bosses in the game, and I'm excited to finally face him on the live servers and hopefully get some of the incredible loot he has to offer. But how...
Illidan actually had a lot of ridiculous fucking items, man. Like the dagger, the bow, the fucking helmet, Curse Vision of Sargeras, the caster, Skull of Gul'dan, obviously Warglaives, the shield. Like, Illidan's gear was actually fucking disgusting. Crystal Spire of Karabor, yeah, that's the mace. Zardum, the Zergling on a stick, yep. There you go, the armor pin ring. I forgot all about the armor pin ring. But yeah, you have that. And then also you get Madness of the Betrayer from the previous boss. Yeah, it's a good time right now to be a melee player. Let me tell you that. A melee physical player.
What was your experience so far? Have you set foot in Black Temple yet? Or are you, like me, just casually farming the Netherwing reputation for now? I'm also curious to know if some of you started playing Classic TBC when it first released, and whether you're still playing it now. If you haven't, are you thinking of coming back maybe? Let me know in the comments, I'm super curious about that. With that, if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the Classic WoW Curios channel for more content like this. I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.
I really wish that he would have shown more of the plays that the guilds did to save time. Like, we saw a few of them that were really cool, but I hope that for the Sunwell, whenever he does a video about this for Sunwell, I hope he'll show more of the plays. Yeah, I fucking love it. Yeah, you see the Rogue Tank Illidan with 100% dodge? Yeah, I remember seeing that back in the day. TBC is like a nostalgia fishing trip? Well, great. I mean, The thing is, like, people say that as if that's a bad thing. As if being able to go back and watch something that you grew up playing that's enjoyable is bad. Like, there's nothing bad about it at all. TBC is a great game in itself. It's like going back and watching, I don't know, like, let me think of a movie like Zoolander or something like that, or Willow. It's like these movies were not the never-ending story. These movies are not fucking amazing, right? These are not the greatest movies of all time. Well, what I'm getting, no, I named those movies specifically. The reason why I named them is because Lord of the Rings stands the test of time. It's still really fucking good. But like, there are a lot of movies, like Willow was like, it was a great movie. It's a really, really good movie, but like, it doesn't have the same type of, I don't know, like fucking importance or severity as Lord of the Rings. So yeah, that's all I'm really trying to get at. Like, not just blockbuster movies, but just like other movies that just remind you of a, you know, an old time. That's it. Conan the Barbarian will always win. Well, I mean, I actually think, like, I think Conan the Barbarian, especially the first one, is such a good movie. I fucking love Conan the Barbarian. Like, I've probably seen that movie like 5 or 10 times. It's so good. And the reason why it's so good is because it's so simple. It's so simple, but it's still so good.